Right, I see that it's now 10:02 and we have close to like 200 of you already signed up, and so I think it's time we start. Good morning and welcome to Shifting the Energy Debate Forward. I am Manon Dufault from S3G and I will be chairing today's conference, so aimed at improving how we use social sciences and humanities research, which seek to better understand the human and social components of the green transition to deliver the European Green Deal. Two reasons why we're gathering today. First, our Energy Shifts project is coming to a close, and for the past 2 years almost, this project has focused on boosting Europe's ability to use and apply social sciences and humanities in energy policymaking, and has developed actionable insights that we thought it was high time we talked to you about. The second reason why we're here today is that work is starting on a new wave of European energy policy reform to drive Europe's transformation to climate neutrality. It will reopen legislation on renewables, energy efficiency, mobility, sustainability of products, and more. So we're really hoping that this time we can move from this being a largely technical and economical debate to really integrate the social dimension. And to do that, we'll split our morning in two. One half focused on the why, aimed at convincing you of the urgency to boost the social dimension of the European Green Deal, and one focused on the how, bringing lessons from EU research and innovation. We really, like, it's on purpose that we've made this conference more than just a run through of the project results to really confront what we found out with the reality of policymaking. Our initial plans, and I'm sure you'll be familiar with the situation, was to have this conference in person, and we've had to trade it for a virtual event, but I must say it comes with a few perks. The one thing is that we can host a lot of you, and Irina, if you could move to the next slide. From the registration list, where it shows an audience that really reflects our project, so that really kind of bridges the community of like research and policy together. So it includes leading universities and research institutes, as well as influential policymakers, think tanks, stakeholders like businesses, a lot of voices from just across really the kind of policy, research and energy sector. Another plus is, of course, that we can bring together people from across Europe and beyond. And if we look at the countries that of the registrants, next slide, please. It really includes a lot of European countries, but also people from really across the world, which is not something we could have done if had the event been in person. So that's great. And maybe like finally, we can also have a live chat while the discussions are going on, and that's great. So don't hesitate to interact with other participants, ask questions. And for the people in the consortium, like also don't hesitate to answer these questions if you have the answer at hand. And if you're using social media, please use the hashtag EnergyShift2021. EnergyShift21 at the top of the slide. Don't want to create another hashtag by mistake. To kick things off, so I would like to invite Jean-EricPaquet to join me on camera, and I see that's actually that's done. Jean-Eric is the Director General of DG for Research and Innovation at the European Commission, so welcome. And I want to tell you that first we're doubly grateful, first for DG RTD's guidance and support. Sorry, I'm sorry, could you mute for just another second? Thank you. Thank you for your guidance and support for the Energy Shifts project, which is a Horizon 2020 project, and of course for accepting to give our opening keynote. So please help us set the scene and capture where we are in the energy transition and in relying on SSH to progress further and faster. And I'll stop my mics to make sure that we don't have any echo, but thank you.
Yes, Manon, good morning everyone. Thanks a lot for inviting me to kick off your work today. I must say I'm really delighted to have this opportunity. Because the Energy Shifts project, I think, is the outcome which will be presented today. The timing of that presentation is, of course, absolutely spot on, as Europe is now ramping up its ambition in terms of CO2 reductions, with the European Council confirming the 55% reduction by 2030. This is quite a tall order where Europe is leading, but where we can now see increasingly partners across the globe, certainly the US in the next few days, but also Japan, China and others are making now commitments, more 2050 related, but which will no doubt also accelerate the energy and more generally the climate transition in these parts of the world. So we need to use all our resources to make these shifts possible, to allow this reduction to happen, because 2030 is really very much already tomorrow. And I think we will see also at the end of the year in Glasgow, where on the Commission side, we will also continue to promote mission innovation, where energy transitions are at the heart of research, innovation, and policy investments. We will continue in Glasgow also to promote these energy transitions and their acceleration. So in this context, 2030 is very much tomorrow. So yes, by 2050 for climate neutrality, I have no doubt that research, science and research efforts in Europe and beyond will make available additional, maybe new disruptive groundbreaking technologies. And we very much today already need to invest in making this possible. But for 2030, which is very much short term, I think the broad expectation is that if there are some technological improvements still possible, we of course should make them available. And here again, Horizon 2020 and now Horizon Europe will, I have no doubt, make a big contribution, probably particularly the partnership on hydrogen, where we will invest on the EU side 1 billion euros. We will certainly here see probably incrementally or maybe potentially here or there in a disruptive form additional technologies. But what I think will really allow Europe to meet this 55% target is by combining the deployment of existing and improved technologies with a much greater ownership and with changes in society itself. That is, I think, really the challenge, which is a political challenge, a policy challenge, but also one which the Energy Shift project has now explored over the last few years, which is to connect social sciences, social innovation with technological development and awareness, so that rollout in society is much more impactful. The project is, from that point of view, also very much in sync with the preparations of Horizon Europe, to which many of you were associated in the co-design of Horizon Europe over the last year and a half. And you will see in the work programs, which are now nearing completion, they will be adopted, I expect, around the end of the first quarter, when the program is coming into force. So the work programs would then be adopted immediately. You will see in these work programs that this is very much the way we are promoting the 21-22 Horizon Europe work programs in Cluster 5 on climate, energy and mobility, but also in Cluster 6 on agriculture, natural resources, environment, and frankly, across the board. We hope to see, as said, investments in future technologies, but also investment in making a difference also medium term. And this is where we have put a particular focus in preparing these work programs. We discussed it again in DG Research and Innovations Directors meeting this week. We have put a particular focus on ensuring, firstly, that social sciences and humanities inform better the various topics which are identified in the energy transition and beyond, but that we also have the possibility to promote social innovation and citizens' engagement, again, to make the rollout, ownership, and change it in society come together and enhance the impact of the policy work, but also of private actors. In that context, the outcome of Energy Shifts is really very promising, very useful. I understand that one of the particularly interesting deliverables is the policy report, which takes stock of discussions between academics on the one hand and practitioners. I think this is something which needs to be nurtured and much encouraged. Work across disciplines, across sectors, but then also bring communities together is indeed also what we hope to do more in Horizon Europe and what the project has done already. So I think that's something which we are looking at in the Commission with great interest. And then secondly, what the project also allowed is to identify in energy, in mobility, in a number of areas also additional research questions at the intersection between societal change and technology, which will certainly be discussed during the workshop and the webinar, and we can then see in how far we pick them up as we move forward. Now, what I would like to conclude with is the expectation of EU institutions and of member states. I see that Lina Galvez-Munoz joined as well. Lina, good morning. The European Parliament and the Commission, we certainly want to have that connection more visible in the academic processes and outcomes. But what I also hope we can see beyond identifying research questions, which is always useful, is that we now move to reality. And I think what I would expect in Horizon Europe is even more than academic research and interesting research questions emerging from our projects, is that you provide us with solutions, tools, instruments to engage citizens and to help society, probably largely bottom up. And this is also where the Horizon Europe missions, I think, can be quite a powerful instrument in cities, in climate adaptation, notably, so that research outcomes supported by Horizon Europe or carried out in member states, that these outcomes can then immediately be translated in deployment and outcomes in society, in the economy, in reality, bringing us towards the 55% reduction. Let me close by saying that this is a rather challenging process, but one which is, I think, more important than ever. Science tells us every day that we are we have lost a lot of time globally. I mean, Europe is a front runner, so we probably can look at our track record with a little bit more satisfaction, but even in Europe, we need to move much faster to get to this minus 55%. We need to move much faster, and that will require a big paradigm shift in the way we look at mobility, energy, and probably also a harder look at how our society and economies are developing, how they are growing, how we could, in a donut economy, if you want, reconcile our planetary boundaries with human thriving societies. A tall order, energy will play a central role there, and I would very much hope that the outcome of the shift, energy shifts project is picked up, and that we can, with that outcome, really accelerate these transformations, and the Green Deal will very much benefit from your work, I have no doubt. So I wish you a fruitful day, and I'm very much looking forward to see colleagues across the Commission, member states, in universities and in industry pick up your results and then move forward with them. Voilà. Maintenant, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much for that opportunity, and have a good day.
Thank you very much for first the kind words, and also for this perfect introduction to the first panel on the kind of why and why now. I mean, you've put it very clearly that science tells us that we have lost a lot of time and we need to move much faster. And you've also mentioned that to reach climate neutrality, it's now about combining existing technology with greater ownership and changes and shifts in the society. So yeah, thank you very much, much appreciated.